and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, to start this off and moving out of our normal, we have a speaker here from our auditing firm, Stephanie. Okay, you have the floor.
Thank you. Do you care if I stand over there?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Perfect.
You're the first one.
This is very
First
nice.
one.
It's exciting. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Hune. I think I've met a lot of you before. I'm a CPA at Bromley and Ackley, and our firm completed the annual audit of the city for the year ended June 30, 2023. So this is much later than any of us would like to be presenting to a council on a financial statement. It should be ideally within 6 to 7 months of the year end. We completed our audit fieldwork back in the fall of 2023, and we drafted our report, just about ready to issue it, and a matter came to our attention that we had to look into further before we could issue our report. That happened right at January timeframe. We were then in the middle of tax season. We have a large tax practice at our firm too, and just really had to set it aside until May. Was able to get back into it, get all the documentation we needed, and was able to issue our report June of 2024. So tonight I'm here to present to you. I think everybody has a copy of it. Page 2 through 4 is the independent auditor's report. And this is the report on your financial statements. The second paragraph there states that, in our opinion, the statements are fairly presented in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. The basis for our audit is always completed in accordance with U.S. auditing standards and also governmental auditing standards. On the page 3, in an audit of governmental accounting, a governmental entity, there's required supplementary information, and that includes management's discussion and analysis and budgetary comparison information for your major funds. While it's required to be part of the audit, it is not required that we express an opinion on it, and it's standard that auditors don't. So it's just presented with your financial statements. At the top of page 4, there's reference to other supplementary information, and that is your budgetary comparison schedule for your non-major funds. And that is the municipal aid fund for the city this year. And that has been subjected to our auditing procedures, and in our opinion, it is also fairly stated in relationship to the financial statements as a whole. Our auditor's report has the final paragraph that refers to a separate report that's issued in governmental auditing standards on internal control and compliance within the city. Pages 5 through 8 is that management's discussion and analysis. I'll point out on page 6, there's government-wide financial analysis, and it's comparative information for this fiscal year compared to the previous fiscal year. The city had assets that exceeded the liabilities of $1,787,000 at the end of June, and that was an increase over the previous year of $155,000. $715,000 of your net assets or net position was unrestricted, and the remaining balance of $1,071,000 was assets invested in capital assets, buildings, and other capital items. I'll also point out here, you'll notice on the 22 column, there's a restated amount. There's a no disclosure in the financial statements on page 20, and that relates to an adjustment that was made, about $25,000, related to the Shelby Street catch basin that had to be recorded in the fiscal year 22. So that was made. On page 7, you have your changes in net position. During the fiscal year, total revenues were $675,000 compared to $778,000 the previous year. And that decrease is mainly the result of additional intergovernmental revenue that was received during the prior year. And your total expenses were $520,000 compared to $537,000 the previous year. So expenses decreased by about $17,000. The overall, as I mentioned, the excess revenues over expenditures were $155,000 during the year. The next section states again, the value of the capital assets, depreciation expense recorded of $105,000, and that the city had no long-term debt at June 30, 2023. Pages 9 and 10 are the statement of net position and the statement of activities. These are the statements, the government-wide statements that are reflected in those two tables I just went over. And then on page 10, towards the bottom there, you'll see that adjustment amount that was $25,320. On page 11 and 12, you have the governmental fund financial statements. This shows the three funds of the city. In the past, you've seen the general fund and the other two funds combined as one column. This year, because the road tax fund, the total assets exceeded 10% of the total fund balance, or I'm sorry, the total fund assets, we were required to report that separately. So now you're seeing all three columns individually, and then you'll find total assets were $742,000, total liabilities $68,000, leaving your fund balance of $674,000. At the bottom, you have a reconciliation between that fund balance and what the net position was on the government-wide. And the only difference for the city is the capital asset items and there are some receivables that were paid over 60 days after year end, and those are not reflected in the fund statements. The total revenues for the governmental funds were $658,000. Total expenditures were $952,000, leaving in excess expenditures over revenues of $293,000. That balance is reconciled to your increase in your net position on the next page, and that's all related to capital items that were purchased, $550,000. They were capitalized on the first set of statements. They're expensed as paid on the fund statements, the depreciation expense, and slight change in that revenue item. The notes to the financial statements begin on page 14. Note A is similar to previous years. We did change the descriptions a little bit on your fund descriptions on page 15 and 16. On page 18, there's a disclosure related to concentration of credit risk. Any cash the city has that would not be secured by FDIC insurance or by pledged securities. The city had no balances at June 30th that were not pledged or collateralized. Page 19 has a disclosure related to the capital assets. The current year additions and deletions are shown in that table. Note H is, we've had an economic dependency note in the previous, and we continue to carry that approximately 21% of the revenues is from the insurance premium tax. Note I at the top of page 20 explains the ARPA funding that was received and how that has been spent. And then note J, as I mentioned, the entry that was made to record the additional construction in progress related to the Shelby Street Catch Basin project. And that was about a $25,000 adjustment. Page 22 and 23 is your budgetary comparison schedule for your major funds, the general and the road tax fund. Total revenues for the year, including the beginning balance, were about $414,000 over what was budgeted, and expenditures for the year were $137,000 less than budget for the general fund. And on page 25 is the budgetary comparison schedule for the municipal aid fund. Revenues budgeted and expenses were almost right on target there, less than $1,000 difference. And then Also, as I mentioned earlier, the second report we issue in a governmental audit is the report on internal control and compliance and other matters. At the bottom of this report explains what accounting standards define as deficiencies in controls or material weaknesses. During our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies that would be identified as material weaknesses, and we found no instances of non-compliance that are required to be reported in governmental auditing standards. Are there any questions?
Has there really been some talk about doing away with that tax?
The insurance tax? Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I just thought that was curious that that was put in there. You know, 'cause every city we take a big hit.
It's in every audit they do,
Oh, okay.
because of the fact that that's one of our biggest fund generators.
And that's what I was thinking. Well, man, to get that for everybody. Okay, does anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah, I got one. You said at the beginning that the delay was because of some other information that you had to provide. What was that?
Part of our audit is if somebody is aware of something or has a concern,
Okay,
that they would bring it to us.
okay.
That happened, so then that,
Which came from,
the state auditor's
The
office.
state audit.
Mhm.
okay,
So once I received that, then there were certain additional steps and additional documentation I needed to gather to respond to them and provide assurance that these are still fairly stated.
and what was the outcome of that? Everything's
That these are
okay?
fairly stated, yes.
Okay. Is there anything
And,
that, so there's nothing we were doing incorrect?
Correct.
And is there any, should we contact them to see if
I am still in communication with them. It's been a lot of back and forth, but I didn't think, what I've found, I've been able to satisfy myself that this report could be issued as an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion.
you're good with everything?
Correct.
Awesome, thank you,
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you. You can stay and listen to all this, or you can mosey on home.
I think I'm gonna mosey on home this evening,
Okay.
and I appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion, approval of the previous minutes?
I'll make a motion, set previous, well, I'd rather not do it since I took the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second.
Second.
Do a roll call.
All right, Mike,
Yes,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Yes. I'd like to amend my vote on the payment of bills from last month. I just, would like to vote yes on all the monthly recurring bills excluding the credit card bill for last month.
So motion to approve was Andy, and then a second, Dave? And then a roll call?
all in favor? Opposed?
And Gail, that was to amend your decision to pay the bills?
Yes, I'm voting yes on all the monthly recurring excluding the credit card. Only, I'm only voting yes on the monthly recurrings.
All right. Any citizens here want to address the council?
Yes, I just have a couple questions. First off, the park, it looks like when the pickleball court's done, we're going to be right at about $560,000 for everything that's been going on at the park. Are we nearing the end of that project, or is this?
No, that was the last piece that goes.
That's it?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm including in that the memorial. I understand there's more to do at the memorial.
There might have been some dressing up and little things to finish, yeah, but there's nothing big at the memorial left.
Somebody mentioned either last meeting or the meeting before that there was a new memorial going to go in there for future veterans that are dead in future wars. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's along with every one of them in the state. When somebody passes on, you add something, get it on on the tag along with the list of all the people there.
Right, but so you're talking about a war that hasn't happened yet? Is that what you're talking about?
Any future ones that come up,
Yeah.
he was planning for future needs.
So there's not going to be a piece of monument that goes down there until there's a war to memorialize
Until
veterans,
there's a
right?
need for it,
Okay.
Plus there's a lot of missing names.
correct,
We're trying to gather that information.
For the previous wars?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so, yeah, so according to my calculations, the war memorial is now exceeded $40,000. Is that, doesn't that need to be bid? Isn't that like what happened there? Did we not bid it and we were supposed to, or what happened there? Is that, am I wrong?
I don't have the total right in front of me what it totaled to. So you watch every little penny that's being spent at that memorial now.
Well,
Yeah, I've been watching it. You sitting
I
at,
figured you would, Keith, you know.
well, it's my job.
Well, my job is to see if this memorial is due and the people that fought and died for this world were put down.
Well, that's fine, Mike. I'm actually a veteran myself, and I appreciate that. But, I just wanted to find out what was going on, because it's not always clear. When you guys say things in the meetings, I'm just trying to get some clarification, that's all.
It wasn't all one project either. I don't know where you get the 40,000
But
from.
you're not allowed to piecemeal it because it becomes one
Well-
project. You moved it from the one location.
I was just looking at subcategories within the park, the pavilion, the playground equipment, the war memorial. See, when we started the war memorial renovation, this was a couple years ago, we had decided that we wanted to move the old monuments from the old location, and we talked about like $20,000. And so, but over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years now, we keep doing more and more and more.
Everything
just-
we do has been approved in a council meeting.
Okay, all right. Well, so as a
By the
citizen, I just want to make sure that you're being good steward of the tax base, okay?
Yes,
So what is the budget, what is the total budget for the war memorial?
I don't think there is one. It's based
Oh.
on need.
So just whenever you decide to spend more money, then
Whenever
you
we
spend more
decide
money?
and it's approved. Yeah.
Okay,
I
All
thought
right.
that was part of the maintenance of it, was to keep it up with active
Correct.
names and so forth, and we all agreed on that in council. I don't know if we all did, but it was
It was
agreed
brought
upon
up
in
to the
council
council.
that we would maintain that with the vets because the vets disbanded.
no, I agree that it should be maintained. I'm just saying that we've done more than maintenance. We've renovated, we've added to it, we bought benches, we put up a concrete
We're
wall.
including that in the word maintenance, not just
Oh.
going down and cleaning. We're
Oh,
talking about
okay.
maintaining the
A
memorial as to
presentable
the way it is.
memorial.
And
Okay.
have you listened to the audits? We have more money than we are required and supposed to carry forward. So we have to find a way to use that. And we ask all the time, does anybody have anything they want us to correct or improve or anything else? No one ever mentions. I'm in the process of trying to resurface all the streets in the city of Bromley with blacktop. I've asked at the last month's meeting, does anybody have any suggestions for road tax? Not a soul said a word. And then
Well,
when we do
Do
something.
we have enough money for the road maintenance?
If it's done the way I did it the last time, yes.
Okay.
Probably could have enough to do now that we've eliminated a couple streets with state and county.
Because the last meeting and the meeting before, the Ways and Means has come forward and said, money's tight, we gotta watch how we spend our money, we gotta borrow from this
Keith,
money
that's
market.
been said for 25 years that I've been on council.
All right,
But
well,
what you
as a
always
citizen
watch
who
that
hasn't been in council for 25 years,
Hold on one
it
second.
raises some
Hold on one
concerns,
second.
okay?
The reason I stated that is because we haven't been reimbursed the $75,000 for the grant. And it's been held down there for, I'm not sure when we're gonna get it, but
So
it's
that
coming.
means you're spending money before you have it, right?
No, our budget
Oh
for
my
streets is not the amount that would be required for the resurfacing project. So the money that's been approved in the budget is
Okay,
going to possibly
Okay.
be spent,
okay.
and
And-
that'll be it.
And to the best of my knowledge, every penny has been approved by this council. Every penny.
Well, that's why I'm addressing the council, because you've approved it.
Sure.
And so I got questions about it, that's all. I'm just using my 5 minutes, as a citizen, just to ask questions and get educated.
All right, Larry, you got something, do you wanna?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I was wondering if we could have, meet the candidates for the council, because there's some new people like me, I've never put a face with them. Well, if
I
that's
don't
something
know
we
if
can
that's
do.
ever been done, but I don't see a problem with it, you know?
Well, would somebody put it on Facebook or something like
Yeah, we'll
that?
set a date,
Figure a date out,
probably be good to have it on a Saturday or something when people, you know what I mean?
however you want to do it, I'm not the only one that said something about the new people.
Okay.
It's a good idea, Larry. It's a great idea, I think.
We'll try to get it, it needs to be done, I would say at least in October, around the 1st of October, Larry, like still
That's
fresh,
fine.
will be fresh in people's mind.
Or you got people who are have to do absentee votes, which is be, I think that portal opens like September the 21st or something.
Well, you're not gonna get it done by September 21st.
Huh?
I think you'll get it done by September.
Larry, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What did you want that to be?
How
How did you want that
A
done?
meet and greet,
A meet and greet.
a meet and greet, right, Larry?
What's that?
A meet and greet for the new
Yeah,
candidates.
that'd be cool, yeah. Everybody that's, running,
Kim, with all.
some of the new people, you might be able to ask them some questions. Might not get no answers, but I'll ask.
What is the last Saturday in September?
Mayor, while she's looking that up, I asked Kim if all of council's present, will that have to be presented as a special meeting?
Good point.
Yeah, that's true, sunshine, yeah.
But you're just one of the new council, the people that are running for the new, right?
Well, you're gonna have people that's moved in this town don't know Gail,
Yeah.
the Wortmans and stuff too. They might wanna know who they are,
We'd have to have.
since they're running
Well,
again.
it's not really a violation of sunshine law problem there, it's more so if we come to a congruence on something, right?
Well, I
Can't,
mean,
Well, it's not technically a meeting.
it's not,
What-
it might be
It's
open.
not, and there's probably not gonna be any official action taken, but I think just to be safe, you have to do it. If you're gonna have more than a majority of the council.
Your calls,
I'm sorry?
your calls
You
on
would
legalities.
you'd have to attend this then.
Depending on
Would you
what.
like the first weekend in
Is
October?
there any way that we could present, something to somebody to put on the city website and then send a notice out or put signs up? Refer to city website for candidate.
That don't give them an opportunity to ask questions of the
What?
potential
Could
candidates.
we do it on October 2nd on a Wednesday to coincide with council meeting dates potentially? I don't really know, but a lot of people would be available or interested in a weekend day, so
That's a good
October
point.
2nd could be an option to
Yeah.
congregate here, come as you wish. I won't be here last week or.
I know every one of our phone numbers on the city website.
Yeah, Mike, you.
I-
If someone wants to.
I'd make a suggestion that we have two separate sessions and half count, or half, let's see, of the current members.
You could do 3 and 3 and you wouldn't have a quorum, so you
Yeah.
could do it that way.
So,
On the 2 dates?
yes,
Some at 6 and some at 6:30.
right. And set a time limit for it.
That can help with availability too, if someone couldn't do one day,
Yeah.
they might be able to do the other.
Yeah.
Almost 3 weeks.
I think if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to try to notify whoever else is running that's not on council. So
Well, there's one here.
Two.
Yeah.
There's two.
That's
Two.
all doable. Two here, yeah, that's right.
Keith?
Two here, I'm sorry, I apologize, Keith.
Yeah, no sweat, Mike.
And if the public wants to know council, complete council, then they gotta come to 3 separate meetings.
I don't like that, I would assume to have it at a council meeting, have everybody here, and just get it all done at one time.
Like special session,
Huh?
a special
No,
session.
It's not a special session.
We could
Have it.
add that to the agenda for October 9th.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could.
The other possibility would be to divide it up and maybe have a few here and a few downstairs, or
No,
Altogether, I think it's good on the 9th.
that way people can just kind of run back and forth to the rooms and talk whoever they want to.
Would they be able to speak after the council meeting? before a meeting.
I mean, it's not really gonna be a meeting, so to speak.
Yeah, he's not saying-
But if
Yeah.
everyone were to meet here on that date that's already scheduled for council, they could then meet and whatever they want after the meeting.
I don't care what.
Everyone could be present, and then once council is adjourned, then those folks could have their own time together in a meeting room and talk about what
You
they
could
want.
do it after the next council meeting.
Okay, right, so October 9th, and I can put that out on Facebook and whatever else.
I'm good with that.
So nothing special as far as meeting or publishing or anything like
I
that?
think after the meeting's adjourned, people, go around and talk, so.
So you're saying
Someone
just
needs
make
to
it,
notify the other two members who are electors, or elect, whatever,
Mhm.
people who are on the ballot.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we'll do. PBS report.
Not a whole lot to report. We had a, possibility of needing a, I think I got the wrong one. Building permit for a wall on Shelby Street, retaining wall, and then we had a grass issue at 237 Shelby Street. Kim, could you address council regarding, what you found out about the school building?
How come I'm the only one in here that's got the sun in their face? Is that on purpose? I
We'll
will.
be on the other side.
Is it in the budget for Bromley?
We'll have to get it, we'll have to get it.
I'll just lean up. At the last council meeting, Gail mentioned that there was a building permit issued up here at that school, and the density was more than was permitted, so I actually emailed Ms. Reddy or Reedy, I'm not exactly sure how she pronounces her name, and told her basically what the concern was. She emailed me back and said she would look into it. I had some groups that basically, she said PDS made a mistake. She said she was sorry they made the mistake. It's something that happens. And I said, she said she would come to the council meeting if y'all wanted her to come to the council meeting and talk about it. She said she'd be happy to do that. So if you want to ever come down and do it.
What was the mistake?
They issued a permit that shouldn't have been issued. They issued a permit permitting more than what that building is supposed to have in it under the old zoning ordinance.
That's Charmella, is that who's coming?
yeah, really.
If we wanted to come. Yeah.
If you want to go. You know, and I asked her, I know there's a section in your zoning ordinance that said permits that are issued in violation are not valid. She had her city attorney get hold of me, and he and I talked about it, and he gave me a case that was, I forget how old, it was a few years old, but basically with that case, and the courts are real careful sometimes, because there's a long line of cases that say you can't argue estoppel against the city, and what estoppel means basically is you can't do this because of something you've done, or something you've said, or some way that you've done something in the past. What this case said was that this was an honest mistake, and the developer had already proceeded with the development, and under those circumstances, even though that ordinance says that those kinds of permits are void, that they weren't gonna void the permit.
So there's precedent to leave alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't real happy with the answer, but, you know, she's always very accommodating, and has always been upfront. I don't like it. I've been down to see her a few times. She basically said, yeah, we made a mistake.
So are you saying he can move forward?
I mean,
And
he's
not
moving
be-
forward. The city could file a suit and say that the permit that was issued is invalid under that other section of the ordinance, but when Matt and I talked about it, he said that we're not going with that. He said it could be very expensive, and we're just not going with it.
I don't know why we would wanna really fight it anyway.
It's not that, it's, the whole point of city council, we're supposed to uphold our ordinances and laws, and I was happened to look at that zoning ordinance, and that's what it shows, so that's why I brought it before council.
I just got a general opinion. It's my opinion that it is different to some degree and perhaps arguable that 305 Main Street and I can't remember the address down on Shelby Street.
40.
Yeah, they were different issues. These were people that were negligent in the upkeep of an existing piece of property. And we fought like hell to try and get that corrected. We had to take a stance, file the foreclosures, and the outcome so far was a good outcome with that one down there. The outcome on the other one, we're still dealing with it. Here's a guy that moves into town, gets a piece of property, and he's putting a ton of money to fix what's been there forever. And he's trying his best to make it look a hell of a lot better than it does and has in the past. So I think it's totally different issues, in my opinion.
From the perspective of economic development and improving the community, I don't know this because I wasn't here at the time, but it's my understanding that they weren't the best set of folks living in that building at one time. And I've talked to Joe myself, and a lot of the gentlemen in there, and sometimes you'll see them out there on the steps, are veterans. He's got a line to the VA, and when someone needs a place to stay, that's where they end up. And it's a lot better than, it could be under a lot worse, the control.
He's gonna generate additional revenue, another $1,700.
I'm not against the project, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just doing my job as a PDS, and don't know the guy, and I'm, obviously, I'm on a different page than the rest of you guys. You're willing to accommodate, whatever, regardless of whatever our ordinances are.
Well, no, he's saying he had a permit.
But
I
it's
understand
for
what
the
you're
wrong-
saying,
For the wrong quantity of apartments permitted on that.
but he didn't know that. Did he know that? I mean, if you're granted a permit from the agency you're supposed to
I
go
understand
to.
it. I did not know what the legal process was. That's why I brought it before
Well, yeah.
council to our attorney to see.
But saying that people aren't interested in the same thing you're interested in, holding them accountable, you said that before
I
you knew.
understand what Gail's saying,
Yeah,
but with all the repugnance or the recodification of ordinances, and then us getting permitted with PDS to do this work, I didn't even worry about looking back into that, because I'm worrying about my own committee and other things. So when it was handled, I thought it was being handled properly, and that's just maybe my ignorance, I don't know, it's just, I
assumed
let
the same
everybody
thing
do their
until-
own thing, and this is the first I knew of it, because I had missed the last meeting.
I thought that was it was being handled properly until someone said, we're putting 17 units in there.
Hmm.
And then that was like, does that fit the zoning?
Right, and
But my
I mean, I
mindset-
understand it makes sense, but that was a big gymnasium, and I thought more apartments was probably accommodated and
And the
accepted.
conversation that I originally heard is there was gonna be 6 to 8 units in the gym, and that was the extent of it. And then all of a sudden it pops out that there's 17 units going in, which triggered me to look at our
How
zoning.
many
to see if
units?
it
I
was-
understand.
How many units over per the square acre metric you were
It's,
using? How many?
well, I believe it was 30 per acre, and I think it's gonna be 34, 35 units now.
And is that a little over an acre? Or-
No, actually, it's 3/4 of an acre, so if you do the math, he's technically only allowed to have 23 units. So that puts him over by about 11 units.
I know there's gonna be some additional parking and stuff added to the back of that building to.
Totally for it. I mean, it needs to be cleaned up. I'm just looking at it from my perspective as my committee.
so how do you write it then?
You can't
Now-
write it according to what Kim was saying.
You can't ever write it? I
Oh,
mean,
no,
there's
no, no.
not an
No, I mean,
exception or a clause that
you
you
know,
can put in there?
Like I said, and I think what the court was saying in that case is if it's an honest mistake, meaning that, some inspector didn't take $50,000 to approve it or something along those lines, then obviously you've got a different issue. But if it was an honest mistake that was made in good faith and the developer has proceeded in reliance on that honest mistake, then they're not gonna void the permit, of course not.
So I think that following the current ordinance is the right thing to do, and Gail's right. We just need to make sure that it's done properly the next time. And the
It's the
progression
only
of this
building-
building, just let it go at this point.
It's the only building in Bromley where it's ever gonna be an issue.
Right, and going forward, our new zoning actually reduces that amount from 30 to 23 or 20, something like that. It actually reduces, so.
And
Oh, and to your
It made
point-
sense for us to do that because of the space that Bromley has. I mean, the buildable space around here is so tight. We had to make that kind of decision. You know, I'm with you, I understand, Gail, but, you know, I just had a tough time pushing on
I'll get
somebody.
that fixed for you.
And it's, Gail, maybe I misunderstood you, but I'm telling you, I felt like you were really going after
Oh,
him.
no, not at all.
The way you presented it, I apologize for taking it that way, but I really thought you were, because
no.
you were asking Kim to hurry it up. I mean, to bring it up during our special meeting. You did.
Well, yeah, I did.
So why would you do that?
Just to get the answer and get it done and over with. It wasn't that I was trying to attack anybody.
But it sounded that.
Everybody seems to take what I'm trying to do the
Gail,
wrong way.
how many times have I said your delivery sucks?
Well, I'm so sorry. You should be used to it and question me.
I am used to it.
But you still thought I was going
But it's,
after it.
Gail, it's frustrating. I'm telling you, it's frustrating, because it kind of causes us to come at you, and I don't want that. I don't want that. So I just hope, think about it and just kind of change your technique or something if you can. But you also,
I've been this way all my life, and it's not
I know,
gonna change now,
I heard that too, and I heard it in a little bit stronger suggestion to me that I'm not going to change.
Okay.
So,
Are you?
I think I do change when I hear when I hear an opinion that makes a lot of sense. I think I've done that because there's the person, in my opinion, is the calming effect. Diane's one of the most calming individuals who helps this council stay together. Because I've never been around somebody who can sit back, list all these opinions, and then we get into this heated argument about whatever, this, that, and the other. She can calm people down. And I appreciate the hell out of Diane for being that way.
Okay, so the council's kind of in agreement, we let it be as is, am I correct?
Yeah, we have no choice.
Okay.
The mapping and the new ordinances, I think the mapping is live already according to Megan. The actual ordinance for the new Z21 will be active in the next 10 days or so on their website.
Do you have a motion for that? Motion
No,
to
we don't need a motion for that, no. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, fire department, Mike?
Thank you, sir. Got my report in front of you. Any questions for it? The only thing to point out is we are now one of the drop-off centers for taking lithium batteries from like the computers, cameras like that. If the batteries go bad, we can dispose of those. With a partnership we have with Cincinnati Recycling and Reuse of North Kentucky, us, Fort Wright, and Central Campbell are the only fire departments in North Kentucky that are participating in the program currently.
Chief, do you have a drop box or something? Or?
We are setting those between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., usually Monday through Friday, but if you call, we can usually, because there's a certain way we have to dispose of those. You can't just let them outside or whatever, so we gotta put them in bags, and if they look like they're damaged, then we gotta call them right away and have them pick it up as soon as they can.
Is that like a Monday through Friday or 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.?
Monday through Friday, but if, that doesn't work for people, because that's usually get some second shift people, in the morning, or first shift people, gives them time to get home, or third shift. But if you need to do it on a weekend, you can always call, and we can, set up a time to be there, make sure we are there, we meet somebody.
Okay. Anybody else, anything for Mike?
Chief, the fire extinguisher training, is that strictly for firefighters, or is that residential, like first aid, they can?
We can do that first aid, CPR, bloodborne pathogens for community. I think we did one when we first started providing service. We did one here at the city building, I believe. So,
Okay.
if we get enough people interested, we can get that scheduled on a weeknight or weekend.
Can we put that on our Facebook?
Yeah, 'cause I know a lot of kitchens and residents, you know, there's a proper way to use it.
We'll see how many, inquiries we get that night and set a date where there's enough, you know, I mean, if you get one or two, it's not worth holding something down here. They could-
No, I mean, they can always stop at a firehouse if there's one or two interested, and we kind of give them a crash course.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. Police department.
All right, my turn.
Okay.
You guys got Chief Stanley's report. If you guys have any questions on that?
Yeah.
There's a couple things that aren't on the report that we talked about that are, real quick, just to kind of give you guys some light on those. A lot of it has to do with HIPAA, that's why it's not on the report. You guys, I'm sure, are aware of Mr. Matthew Hamilton over on Kenton Street.
Yeah.
I served a mental health one on him a week and a half ago, and he has been admitted to, I believe, either Eastern or Sun, to get him some help so that we can make sure that himself and you guys, as the city of Bromley, are safe based off of some of his actions and statements. Not sure when he's going to be released.
He's already home.
He shouldn't be.
He's supposed to.
See how-
Yeah.
His vehicle was never removed,
He's home.
is he?
Mhm.
Okay, well, going back, he was supposed to be admitted for 120 days.
Really?
I'll go back, if he's home, that's fine. They evaluate him, I mean,
Well, Brittany lives across the street from him, and Don Weaver, a good friend of ours, he lives straight across too, and Don said he's home.
not going to usurp his rights.
Cool.
So if he starts acting out again, I push this to the council, that you guys push this out to your residents. Call us before you call you guys.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, no matter what the situation is. I can't stress that enough. As a police officer, I've been doing this for 17 years, 16 and a half years.
Those of you who don't know what we're talking about there, this guy, actually, he was driving around town doing 50, 60 mile an hour running stop signs, just spur of the moment, he'd get in his car and do it, just to go around town. And I noticed it, and I thought, oh my God, who is this? And then I finally figured out who it was. And then there was an issue that
There was multiple issues without getting into it. Basically, there were some allegations towards him attempting to swerve his vehicle towards people as
Yes.
well.
he
There
came
were
towards me,
allegations of
yeah,
him
came
going
towards me.
towards the neighbors with some.
I was gonna call you.
Yeah,
I was gonna call you.
and I do appreciate that. I can't stress that enough as a police officer, because we can't be everywhere at once.
Yep.
And with that being said, if we know, then we can handle it. We don't want it to, he's a veteran. We want him to get some help. We're trying to get him some help as a veteran myself. That's my biggest concern, is my veterans, so I want to get as much help to them as possible, and he needs it. He obviously definitely needs the help. So, and anyone in that situation, of course, needs help, but I do have empathy towards the veterans. So, and then there was a email sent to my department from Chief Stanley yesterday from you, sir, I believe, in reference to 217 Boone Street.
Me.
Yes, you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and I apologize for not getting back to
That-
you,
I handled it.
but I know.
Okay, so just give you in light of that, I don't know if they've been evicted. I know there's no one living there but the young man. He is legal age. He might have some diminished mental capabilities, but he answered all the questions. Everything's right. It's now a civil matter that comes on you guys to handle from there, unless it becomes more egregious, then we'll help out.
So I can fill Diane across the street in on what you've done. That's.
Yes,
Luke,
yes. Well, initially, we thought he was 12, was what I was told. He looks young, but he's 21.
That's what she was telling me.
Yeah.
We got this youngster and he's been dropped off there or something like that. I corrected a lot of her
That's okay.
misunderstandings.
Well, and if it becomes a bigger issue, just let us know. We will try to get him some help the best that we can.
I'm
So,
almost positive there's no electric and no water.
there is not, but it goes back to the homeowners and the eviction process, and that's on the sheriff's department.
Is there something we need to do to get a hold of the homeowner, PDS getting a hold of
I
them?
will say it's very similar to Shelby Street, just based off of my, whenever Shelby Street down here was in a bad disarray.
Okay,
So if that's something you guys wanna look into, of course, then of course we'll be more than happy to help you guys out in any way
But if it's
possible.
all interior, they cannot go in
They have
without
to invite
permission.
him, yeah, I know, they have to invite him
Unless the boy would invite him.
I think they can if there's no utility service,
I'll double check with Wyatt.
Type thing?
in. Well, Cody actually suggested civil services, but, or social services.
Yeah, so possibly social services, and then if it becomes a, greater issue, then of course, and there's no criminal matter there right now, other than,
Yeah.
I
I
mean.
mean, he doesn't bother, yeah, other than going around asking for food and water.
Correct.
He's knocking on doors and,
And the community's been great to feed them, I mean, and to give them some water, but,
Yeah.
of course, it isn't. I don't know where the family, according to him, when I spoke to him yesterday, they had allegedly moved to somewhere in Erlanger.
there's about a dozen living in there.
Yes.
And actually, the mayor and I left here a couple days ago. We think this one girl slept in that van over the night, because when we walked past.
And how old would she be?
She was older, she was 30s, maybe.
Oh,
30s.
okay.
We think she slept in the van, because we were walking by and the van door was open, and she was just walking around the van.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
I checked it yesterday, the van was locked, because I was trying to see
Okay.
if someone was in there, so there's a high possibility, so.
Okay.
So, and then the other one is that we have a similar issue to Mr. Hamilton happening on Pike Street. We're gonna I know you guys have probably heard about that as well, it's coming. We're gonna probably try to handle that one appropriately as well, but he currently the gentleman is, he's been admitted to, the hospital for some mental health as well, so.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, if you hear about it, you know that we're handling it, so.
Are you okay if I email you directly on if I see anything?
Yes, because Chief's handling a lot of other things going on right now, so anything on the operations side, such as my patrol officers and stuff, just send it to me, because
Cool.
I refer to myself as Richard Webster 2.0, so.
Someone, please, and PDS, could you keep me in the loop as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if there's anything that you guys, once again, need from help with that, just let me know, and we'll do what we can that would, as long as we don't violate someone's rights, we're willing to help, so.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, do you guys want me to report 217 for the no electric and water utilities?
I guess you can, but there's not enough about living there, so I don't know.
Would that be reported to social services?
Did you, I thought you guys said there was a young guy living there, age 21?
Yeah.
So, there is somebody living there with no utilities?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that, you would think the landlord would be aware that somebody's living in there without water, you know what I mean?
They don't live around here, so
Oh.
I'm the landlord, so he's all.
Go ahead and turn it in.
There, I think so.
That's kind of problem property.
I think they live in Arlington, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
8:15, 16.
Yeah, Bob.
We witnessed, Jack and I witnessed an incident this morning. We were down here at the corner of Tanner and Shelby, doing, painting some of those stop blocks.
Yeah.
A young woman come walking up Tanner, she's got a baby in her arms, walks up to Boone Street. Yeah, I don't know whether she came to the city building or not, because apparently when she came back, oh my God, she was screaming her head off and saying like, I need to pay this bill and there's nobody to pay it and I got the money, and she cursed all the way down to the corner of Pike Street. Then she started walking east on Pike Street, and we lost track of her.
Probably the lady that I wrote a fine to for her vicious dog. She lives on Pike Street.
No, she was about 5'5", thin, kind of thin, and she had a baby in her arms.
Yep, that would be her.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, just address one more thing. So,
Yeah.
so there's, when it comes to us writing city citations and stuff, we have a new process for that. It's no longer paper citations, it's written on a computer, that way it's something that I can see. But, in the past, when people have asked how to pay fines for, like city, like
Yeah.
parking fines or whatever.
Right.
I've always referred them to you guys, to the city building. I don't know your guys' hours. I'm new to day shift, okay? I've been working nights for 6 years.
Yeah.
So, if one of you guys don't mind, maybe you, Ms. Brittany, can send me an email on your guys, so I can push that out to my guys, and I can add that to our citations for the city ordinances. Cause, prime example, I told the gal the other day when I wrote her a fine for a vicious animal who keeps breaking loose out of their house. I hate to use the word vicious, cause I absolutely love dogs, but, I wrote her $100 fine for it. So, because that's the minimum, or the maximum that you can write for, under the revised statutes for that. So she said she was going to pay it, but I told her to come talk to you guys over here, Monday through Friday, that's all I told her, so.
Also, I told them, and correct me if I'm right, that they could go up to Park Hills and pay the fine.
So, and if that's the case, then, if that's what you guys want, yes, we can send them to Julie over at the city building and she could take those payments, because it's a fine from us as the police department. But just being able to streamline the process, I'm trying to get the department up to the standards like everyone else, so.
Well, I mean, if somebody wanted to pay the fine
Just
right
give them
away,
options.
you know what I mean, they should have the option to go up there and pay it right away. So
Yeah.
if they're leaving out of town or do something, they should be able to go up there, because I've told them to go up there before, okay?
Okay, that's fine. So if they pay it to us, it's either, and I have the ability as an officer when they show up, I have made it known to the guys that if it's something that they can explain to me or articulate to me reasonably, then we can say, hey, you learned your lesson, you don't have to pay a fine, then I'll void the citation, because it's just a city ordinance citation for either Park Hills or Bromley. But in this particular instance, I think it's held to a standard,
Yeah.
and so, if it comes to us, I would prefer them to go to Miss Julie, because she's the one that handles the financials with us, obviously. But at the same point, I need to know about it, because then I can void it versus her potentially showing other penalties for not paying it within the 7 days that we require, so. So yeah, just something we can streamline, we can work this out, we can have it put into our system, and we'll be good to go. So, but I can totally understand the lady's frustration, she probably was, because it's an ongoing issue, so.
Right, okay. That's what we'll work on.
And, in case you get a report, we got yelled at by her when she came by for watching the paint dry. We were between coats. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. She yelled at us for sitting there watching the paint dry.
Okay. All right, whole committee,
Work should, well, we gotta get blinds still, but other
blinds,
than that,
yeah, do that, 'cause he's
Oh,
he's getting a sunburn over here.
I've got these, I've got these caps, I've got these
Okay.
caps to cover those holes there. I went through 3 different sizes to finally find the right size. So I didn't wanna order all of them, so I just got 2 of them, and then now I know what the hell to get, so they're on their way.
All right. Road and light, Dave.
Road and light. I was out today and Bob and Jack was doing line striping and everything, and it looks good. But we talked a little bit about it. To buy more paint, we're looking at what, $60 to $70 a gallon?
It was about $40 a gallon, but here, we made smaller stop blocks
Right.
than what was there.
Right.
They're about 7 foot by about 18 inches
Yeah.
wide. Okay, we made a stencil. And, we put 4 at the intersections here of Tanner and Shelby. 1 at the intersection of Shelby or West Oak and Pleasant, and then 1 at Shelby and Main. Okay? So we put down 6 stop blocks. We used almost 3 gallons of paint. It's $120 down the drain.
So I told Bob and Jack, I've been reached out to from Kent County Public Works. They're offering a paint striping program with all the cities, and they've given us a price of like 22 cents for white paint per foot, linear foot, and 24 cents linear foot of yellow paint. but they also put down the thermoplastic, which you can see at night, it glitters, and in the winter would glitter, so it's a lot more visible. The lines that Bob and them are painting is great, but it's not just, the thermoplastic really makes it a lot different. And they're offering arrows and other stencils and so forth. I'd like to save those guys the trouble of ordering more paint and everything else. Jack had spots of paint all over his face today and his glasses and everything. I'd like to get my footage and the streets down now that we don't have a couple of the state streets, and go ahead and get us on the schedule with the county and let them go ahead and paint them. If that's okay with council, I've got the money and everything in the budget. I just wanted to get an opinion if anybody had something different to speak of on that. So, other than that, down at Pleasant Street and Boone Street, the cars coming down off the dead end on Pleasant Street cannot see, or the people at the stop sign cannot see them. There's people parking around the corner up through there. So I'd like for you guys to paint the curb from the catch basin up to the guide wire. It's about 20 feet. Just paint that curb yellow so nobody can park next to the corner there at the intersection. And if you guys get a chance.
Is that the extension of Pleasant Street going up to the woods up there?
Yeah, right there, Larry, as you go down Boone Street.
Right. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
So it's not turning right off of Pleasant onto Boone, is that what you're talking about?
No, the opposite corner.
Oh, okay.
There's like a dog leg there.
Yeah, so if you're going down Boone Street, you stop at the stop sign where the tank bus is. There's cars being parked and trucks being parked up. There's one guy on Boone Street that when his girlfriend comes down to stay with him, he takes his forklift company truck and parks it over there around the corner, so she's got a place to park by the house. And it's just blocking anybody coming down out of those last three houses, or two houses up there. So they've almost got hit once. They were coming down, the cars were pulled right out, and I was cutting grass when I saw it. And he's like, that happens all the time. We can't see, or they can't see us, and we don't have a stop sign. So,
We've kind of got the same issue on Larry's side, coming up Pleasant, making the right onto Boone.
yeah,
There's people parking very,
Yeah.
very close to the curb,
on
or
the
to
side
the
of
corner.
Larry's.
Yeah.
Well, Larry's not here. Oh, Jack's there. Yeah, just guys go ahead and do a 15-foot, 20-foot there on the side of Larry's house also.
Okay, we'll do that.
Appreciate it. What was the other thing? I guess that's it for now.
Okay. Bob, you got anything you wanna bring up?
Oh, we're, Mike got us the new, posts for the new banners, and we're gonna start mounting them. Probably tomorrow we're gonna start. I just wanna know from Diane, the one from my brother-in-law, has that been,
Oh yeah, they're not that fast.
okay.
As soon as I get it. How will it take you, can you get them all up in a day?
Oh, no, it's gonna take us several days.
Yeah, okay, hopefully by the time,
We're gonna be working, when we did these, we rented that lift,
yeah,
it was a really nice piece of equipment, but I think we can do it. We've got a 13-foot ladder that Mike Kendall gave us to use, and I think we can do it with that. We don't have to have any kind of fancy equipment to get up there.
yeah.
So we'll start around the corner from your house, the last one,
Yeah.
right, but near Tim's property, and then we'll start working our way down or work our way up the hill.
I know when he did the first round of them, I'm gonna say it took him almost 3 weeks to get them.
Okay.
But he may have had some time off in there, so I can give him a call and once they go up, Brittany, I'm sure you may get other calls of people who are interested that didn't see the notice on Facebook. Just tell them to send their information and we'll see how many we get and where, what we can do from
How many
how.
are there total?
There's 13 now with Bob's brother-in-law. And then we have 14 total banner
Yeah, there's 14
available.
posts.
So we have one still that wouldn't be any delay, but over that, we'll have to come up with another solution.
Okay,
Okay?
awesome.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. And Diane.
Okay, Kim, it's your spotlight, since you're in the spotlight.
I was asked a couple of months ago to do an ordinance to prohibit fireworks being used in the park, so this is ordinance 9124. An ordinance of the city of Bromley creating a new section of chapter 93 of the official code of ordinances of the city of Bromley, prohibiting the use of fireworks in the city park. Whereas the city of Bromley has expended considerable funds improving and adding to the Bromley City Park generally located north of Shelby Street, south of Pike Street in the city. And whereas the city council, in order to assure the safety of persons and property in the park and to prohibit damage to all surfaces in the park, now therefore be it ordained by the city of Bromley, Section 1, a new section of Chapter 93 of the official code of ordinances of the city of Bromley is amended to read as follows. It shall be unlawful for any person to cause fireworks as defined in this chapter to be set off at any time within the confines of the Bromley City Park. Section 2, any person who violates any provision of Section 1 of this ordinance shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall be fined not more than $250 for a first offense. And if a person is convicted of a second offense committed within 2 years of the conviction of the first offense, the person shall be fined not more than $500 or imprisoned for not more than 30 days for both. Section 3, ordinances in conflict or to the extent of such conflict repealed. Section 4, the invalidity of any section, subsection, or sentence of this ordinance shall not affect the remainder. Section 5, this ordinance shall take effect and be in full force upon after its passage, approval, and publication according to law. And that's your first reading then.
Make a motion, we accept 9124.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Also, we have a resolution here, resolution of the city of Bromley, Kenton County, Kentucky, changing and making the name of the Bromley City Park located generally between Shelby Street and Pike Street to the Bromley Veterans Park. Whereas the city of Bromley has moved its Veterans Memorial to the above park and desires to change or make the name of the park the Bromley Veterans Park. Now therefore be resolved by the city council of the city of Bromley that the city park located between Shelby Street and Pike Street be hereby officially named the Bromley Veterans Park.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll
Got a
second.
motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
Dave?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all I've got, Mayor.
Okay.
That's really for signature.
Okay. Ways and means?
Okay, well, we're gonna try this baby out here. Let me get this, I'm not sure what's going on there. Come on, is that TV on?
There's no signal.
I don't think it's on now, it's on.
It's on that, yeah. I had it on a little while ago. Dude, there it is. Great. Just a real quick report here.
What is your pet number?
These are my babies. That's Charlotte, Lily, and the one in the middle, that's Luna.
I thought that was you in the middle.
That was me when I was about 12. This is just being, this is a test for others to come in here.
Only a text.
Wait. I didn't get to bring my mouse with me, and I hate these pads. Now, hang on. There we go. Got it. Okay, it's August financial report. Under revenue for general fund, it's only been a couple months, so to date, we received a little over $42,000, which represents about 13% of anticipated income, or 12%, I mean. General expense to date, we spent $86,082.53, which is about 20% of anticipated expenditures. And the biggest expenditures during the first 2 months is $25,000 for police 15,000 for fire and EMS. And just an FYI to help everybody understand some of the monies that it takes to pay for these two services. We anticipate receiving about 35,000 from our residents to pay for those services, just those two services. So you can already see that we're 5,000 in the hole just at the beginning of the year. So it actually will take our entire property tax received and will still be short by $55,000 to cover these expenses. So I hope that is just evidence to how important BP is, and the fact that we no longer owe BP anything. BP's gross receipts should help us pay for the rest of those two services. So I'm so glad BP's done. Now I'm just gotta keep an eye on it. Okay? Revenue for the road fund, there's no revenue received yet. We have spent $485 for signs, I think it's for signs, and $330 for miscellaneous. Municipal aid, we received $12,636. That's our first draw. I think we get one more or two more. Can't remember. I think it's one or two.
I think it's just one.
One more, yeah. Towards the end of the fiscal year. And we haven't spent any money out of that fund yet. Now, the grass cutting comes out of that. Or no, I'm sorry, take that back. Snow removal comes out of that. Yeah, so that's coming up. Capital improvement. Terry had to transfer 10,000 from general fund over to pay some of the project, specifically the council chamber fund. And you can see the transfer that was approved last month of the 75 from the money market account, 75,000. As soon as we get it back from the state, it'll go back into the money market. And here's what we spent for that month: $6,700 for the council chamber upgrade, $9,500 for the mural, park mural, and that is paid in full now. And then 102 professional services, $500 for parks and playground. And that's the report.
Very
Nice.
nice. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully that you know, what we got going on here is that when someone comes to present something by way of a laptop or whatever at the podium there, right now I'm tied into a HDMI right here, and anybody else that wants to present something can come and sit in this spot here and present something to council. Instead of having to stand there, all we have to do is open that box right there and switch to HDMI inputs. Just switch them out, and there it goes. But I'll have to switch it back when somebody goes in there, goes over to the podium. So, there we go. To dark.
Is there a corresponding one over there for that side as well? Could Gail present it from there?
No, we
Okay.
switch places all.
I have some questions, but should I ask of you or should I ask of the mayor?
It should be actually should be the mayor and Terry.
Okay. And I'm asking because I've been looking at the finances. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just asking some general questions and concerns. As of August 31st, our checking account shows that we have $1,300 in it. Have we received any additional revenues?
I'm gonna have to talk to her about it, I don't know.
The reason I ask is you guys got a payroll coming up on Friday, and I don't think
She's
there's
got things covered, the best of my
Yeah,
knowledge.
there's checks that came in and everything, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I've also been kind of studying the last 3 years of revenue. And I backed out our ARPA funds and 30,000 that we got from Roseberry's property. And the average revenue is about $407,000 a year. And I'm just making a statement here, no question, I don't think. The current budget for your annual revenue, you've got it projected at 356,000. When you look at the monthly recurring expenses, just for last year, that's no special projects or anything, the total was 348,000, with 250,000 of that being 100,000 for the police, 90,000 for fire, and salaries at 68,000. It looks like our expenses and our revenue, unless something greatly increases this year, we are gonna be very tight. And the salaries increased 60% since 2021. I'm just wondering how much longer that we can continue to spend at the current pace without running into some financial issues.
Well, that I'd have to look into, but you know, what really helped me a lot, Gail, if you could get this to me in writing, and I could get it to Terry, and me and her can sit down.
Okay, I can send it in an email to you.
You know what I mean? And then I can be prepared for the council, because I don't go in there. I'm gonna, every so often, I don't keep.
I have a problem communicating with email. This is our public meeting. This is where things like
Yeah,
this.
but what do you wanna know? You get your true, a lot of people, councils, they ask for everything in writing before the council addresses the public. I could do that here. I request everybody to put it in writing before they bring it to council. That's my prerogative, and a lot of cities do that. And you know they do that.
No, I don't, because I don't really watch the other meetings to know what they do, so.
Well, I'm just saying, I've looked into it, you know, I know what they do. If not, it's just it's a mess out there.
Well, and I do know that, when Terry first started here, she was required to be at the Taylor Mill meetings, so we could also have that option of having the treasurer attend the meeting.
But then again, if she don't know what you're asking for, she might not have it when she's here.
She's got a laptop that she can bring in and just like, I'm not being argumentative.
I'm not either, I just like if you could do that, you know what I mean? And then I'd be fully prepared.
I can see a need to have her here back before internet, back before email. When, you know, it was tough to, I mean, when you're only here once couple days a week or Terry's here once a week. But now that you've got email, Gail, I just don't understand why you can't send a message to her by way of email and get your answers. I wasn't gonna do this tonight, but let me go through, you and I have been at odds about the duties of the Ways and Means ever since I took over. You did help me work on the budget so I could educate myself on how to do things, but let me show you what I think, why we're at odds. Is that all right?
Sure.
Okay, because I think what you operated under, when did you start on council, really?
When did I start on?
Yeah, how long have you been here?
Last century, I'm
BC.
sure.
Well, come on, give me a date.
Smart aleck.
Give me a date.
I'm guessing 1999, I'm guessing.
Okay, that sounds about right from what I saw here.
I didn't start doing budget until about Dave became mayor, which was what, 2012?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Took it from Charlie and gave it to you.
So I assume Charlie was doing it, believe it or not. And I thought Charlie was doing it, right?
Up until 2012, I guess he was.
Okay.
He wasn't happy, he got taken away from me.
I can imagine. And you weren't happy, were you?
I wasn't, but I mean, I don't miss it, have fun.
I can tell you're having fun because you're questioning every damn thing we do. But
Well,
here's.
That's my job as a council person,
It's
if you read
everybody.
the bottom line.
That's one of my points. You've been really asking me to do all that. It's all of our job to check the financials. It's not me.
No,
But-
you're right, everybody should be.
But you've been hammering me ever since I've been in this position.
Because that, you used to hammer me as Ways and Means, yes, you did.
Well, I didn't do it at council. I always
Oh,
went through
no.
Lori.
You got me a couple times
A
at
couple
council.
times.
Okay.
Not every damn count, not every damn meeting.
Well, if there wasn't something every meeting, I wouldn't have to hammer you.
All right, I don't know why I'm not.
May I say something from a communication standpoint and like agendas? I think in regards to just having like a preface meeting prior to council, I don't think it's a matter of like being in an email as to take away transparency, but rather to have, much like the agenda, for instance, I'll ask the mayor, hey, what do we need to discuss? What are some important points to bring it up? Hey, Kim, do you wanna have a special point to bring up? Does anyone else? I think it's just a matter of having an idea of what is to be discussed. That way, when we are in front of each other, we are in front of the citizens, everyone has an idea, and then that way they're gonna have something to say and they're gonna have information to provide as a community and as a whole room and a council. So just from communication, I think it's like, all right, this is what we're gonna discuss. We have the questions, we have some answers. Now we can present it to everyone, at which point all council members can ask questions, as can the citizens.
So if I send it an email form, is it going to come back to me in email, or is it going to come back to me at the council meeting?
We'll drop it here at the council meeting.
And maybe the emails could be made where all council
I can
members
read,
are
I can read
attached.
what you sent me on email, okay? Gail's asking these questions, so me and Terry look at your questions and we address them here at the council meeting.
Well, that's fair, but if you're
That's
going to respond in an email,
No, I'm
if
not
I'm
gonna
asking in an
respond. I'm not
email, I
gonna-
don't expect a response in an
No,
email.
I'm not gonna
What
respond.
difference, and I'm just curious, what difference would that make if you got your answer? I mean,
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, this is a
Yeah,
public
I mean, I
meeting.
think it's fine to do it that way, just send a question by email, and then you can just say, you know, these were my questions, and the mayor's submitted
As
these
long as I
answers.
get a response in a public forum. That's, because
Why
this
they-
meeting is.
I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just-
This meeting is supposed to be a presentation to the citizens of Bromley, what is going on within the city.
And isn't that data and information provided to them every month?
Yeah, but if there's questions, you know, like, I have some grave concerns about our financial situation.
That's fine, but you're at, but then, and let's get it taken care of. But here, let me go back to where I was headed. I'm not sure why it's not showing up here, that's okay. So I'm gonna have to read some stuff, okay? Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, what I researched was, I first educated myself about how city councils work when I first, in 2017, when I got on council. So I tried to educate myself to the best on how and what council's allowed to do versus, and what a mayor's allowed to do. I don't think I'm 100% accurate in everything I read, but I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of what Mike's allowed to do and what we're allowed to do. Okay? According to KRS, there's just one sentence here that really leaked out at me. The council shall not perform any executive functions except for those functions assigned to it by statute.
Right.
Okay? When we first got on council here, I noticed you're in the office, you have access to the office, and I'm gonna get to that, so don't be upset with me with what I'm gonna say here. You're in the office, you're actually kind of running the office. You're doing the budget, right? Because by then you were.
Right.
That was handed to you by him, right?
Right.
Okay, and I'm sitting back going, well, how come she's allowed to do that? Because she's on council. So, since we kind of have been butting heads right here, over the past few months or so, I thought, I'm gonna dig a little deeper. Here, I think I figured out what's going on, all right? So we've got that right now. Now, so there had to be a statute to allow Charlie to do what he was doing because he transferred what he was doing to you. Is that correct? Basically, or once you were made Ways and Means, you had to figure out what Charlie was doing, right?
Right.
So Charlie was pretty involved in the accounting of the city as well.
Right.
In other words, you even had access to the accounts. And did he have access to the accounts?
No, he didn't. With the computer.
But you wound up with, which, if, given this statement here, there's a statute that allowed you to do that, you were fine, okay?
Right.
So, I think, let me go to it, and I'm sorry about not having it. Well, look at that, I got my pointer, anyway,
There it
there it
There
is.
you go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you had it.
I have no idea why. I wish I had my mouse. Sorry.
there.
Call somebody about
What the hell? Oh, how do I get rid of that? Oh, it's gotta be,
I did not, just to
anyway,
clarify something, I did not have access to the office until Donnie became mayor.
okay,
And
okay,
as it turned out,
that helps. Okay, I feel for you because you were scared you were gonna go down with Donnie. Okay. I know you had to be, had to be,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, most definitely.
Because your name was on the accounts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't blame you for being scared. Since I can print all this stuff out for you, but anyway.
Yeah.
The ordinance at that time basically said that the Ways and Means Chair shall be appointed by the mayor. Basically, it says Ways and Means Chair should be appointed by the mayor and so-and-so. And then it says, and then it's, that particular, the Ways and Means Chair shall assist the mayor in the following, okay? And it's a long list of provisions of putting a budget together, and making sure that, the expenditures of the city were correct and all that good stuff. So you were doing what you felt was your task and your job, correct?
Yeah.
And just, because Diane, or not Diane, Linda sure as heck could not put a budget together, could she? But it was Dave's responsibility to put the budget together, not yours.
It can, I think the law reads that it can be assigned if the mayor chooses to assign it. Is that correct, Kim?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's the mayor's obligation, but I think that can ask for and get.
The ordinance doesn't say that. The ordinance says it's the mayor's responsibility for the budget, and the person that's responsible for administering the budget is the treasurer, okay? However, that sentence there in that ordinance, that old ordinance, allowed Dave or any of the mayors to say, Dale, I don't want to fool with it, can you take care of all that? That's basically what that says. Because the ordinance is basically the permission to do that, correct?
I'm assuming that, yeah, I don't
It's
not
not,
looked at that ordinance in ages.
I'll give it to you. I don't know what I'm doing wrong there.
Where are we going with this?
Okay? When the codification took place,
Right.
and everybody know what codification means? It's a legal method of cleaning up erroneous old ordinances, like you're only allowed to have a one horse and buggy in town and all this good stuff. But it's a process where this legal team analyzes all the ordinances of a city. And it's not just one city, it's all of northern Kentucky. And it's a legal society that does it, and they publish the ordinances. And we pay for that. Well, they go through and they see if there's anything inconsistent with the law and the statutes and everything. Well, that sentence was taken out. It no longer exists. So I read that and I'm looking at what are my duties. And the only thing that I'm actually required to do, based upon the ordinance today, is to, after he's finished with his budget, the one he puts together, then I'm to look at it and agree with it before it's brought to council. That's the only thing I'm supposed to do.
Okay, so going forward, I'll address my questions to the mayor.
Huh?
Going forward, I'll address.
But you see where the two of us are so far apart, because I think you were expecting me to do the exact same thing that you were doing.
Well,
But I'm not allowed in that office. I don't want in that office.
but you've been in that office.
When it's open, so I can talk, so I can turn POs in.
The only time I went in that office when it wasn't open was when there was.
I'm not
that-
talking about that. You were there every week.
Yeah, well, yeah, when the office was open.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
And
the only time I went in without it being open
Well,
was
I'm
under the Donnie situation.
yeah, but when you were in the office, you were pretty much running the office.
Well,
Because,
that's true.
because I heard your arguments between yourself and Linda.
Well,
I mean,
well, that's a whole other subject.
I
that
understand.
doesn't need to
I'm
be
just trying to
discussed in
make a
public.
point. I'm just trying to make a point. It's almost like you were a city administrator because of the way this
Right,
read and the old read, and the way the old ordinance read.
right.
It gave you a lot of authority.
Right.
And the KRS says, we're not allowed to do that.
Understood.
Okay. Well, that's why I'm really frustrated with you. It's almost like you're attacking me. Really, it is. I'm telling you, to be honest, to God's truth.
I don't know, I guess I have this attack mode that I don't know about.
Your delivery, I told you about your delivery.
I don't know how to deliver it any different, Mike. I am who I am, and you should know that my delivery is not an attack.
But I don't like it.
Well,
I don't like it.
I can't help it. You either accept it the way it is, or we're gonna butt heads.
Well, yeah, I guess we're butting heads, but I wanted to make sure everybody understood where you stood and where I stood and what we were legally allowed to do.
And now that it's
And now it's
clarified,
out
I will turn my questions to the appropriate person.
All right. And I think the email is the best way to do it.
That's what it's gonna be, email and give you enough time, don't email me the day before.
As long as I'm guaranteed a response in the public forum to my questions, I
will
have
be.
no problem with the email.
It will be in the public forum.
I think coming from a larger city council previously, I think that some of the shortfall here in this discussion and this is discovery, the process of discovery. Gail, you have questions about the city budget and potential future shortfalls. I would say typically, well, in a larger city, you would have a city administrator or a full-time treasurer, someone that you could talk to. But I think when you try to do your discovery in an open meeting, whether it's Mike towards you or the other way around, it comes off as distrustworthy, or maybe you don't have the answer that he wants. Maybe you don't have the answer that he wants right now, which makes you look like a dummy. And that infuriates you. So doing the discovery behind the scenes and then coming forth in a public meeting, once you have the answers, and then expressing your concerns with maybe even a potential solution to the issue, is more constructive. And I'm not saying that to be demeaning to either one of you. It's just discovery and how we can maybe move forward more cohesively. Sorry, that's my 2 cents. So.
Anything else?
Yep. Okay, working.
Park and playground, Tam, you got anything?
He does, yes. First, he wanted to make sure that you knew that the park was not done or the memorial was not done in piecemeal. The wall and that became part of this year's budget. That's why he waited this year, and that was part of the park. It wasn't part of the memorial beautification of the park. That was the first thing he wanted to make sure. And he said whatever money he gets from council, he will spend on the park. So if the council approves a park budget, he's going to spend the money on the park.
As long as he goes through the process, if it exceeds the bid, the 40 grand, which hasn't been done of late with some of the projects.
It has been done. What is it?
And you questioned about this one, whether it was gonna be.
I'm sorry?
You questioned about this project.
Yeah.
We're under 40.
And that's fine, I mean,
Okay.
that's, again,
The memorial was under 40.
but I think the memorial fell under the $30,000 because the 40, I think, just went in this year.
In
40 now, that was a year
I'm
ago.
sorry,
They raised that 40 a year ago, last year.
was it last year or this year?
Yes, it was last year.
Last year, okay, my mistake.
And then the other thing that he's one of the other things that he's looking for is there are wooden bleachers that are worn and weathered and splintered. He's going to look into pricing on replacing those if his budget allows.
Hey, what about getting that type of wood that don't leak, like, what do they call it? Huh? Composited boards?
I
Or
heard
the
those
metal.
chip,
Oh, they
Or
do?
you going to try and do the metal that,
what's wrong with the metal ones?
yes.
No, they were talking about the wood ones.
I know, but what about replacing it with the metal, like
Yeah.
Well, that's what he was
Okay, that's okay.
saying, yeah,
that's
to
okay.
match the other side,
Okay, good,
yeah.
okay.
Did I cover?
Some places don't even have benches, they just have the concrete steps as benches.
True.
Yeah, that's all he's got for the
All right,
park.
thank you.
I just wanna say that, probably a week and a half ago, I came in town and it was about 9:45. It was dark and there was a boatload of people down there still playing soccer and basketball and a nice aroma of weed when I drove by, and music up and everything. I went home and I turned around, went back down about a half an hour later and they were gone, but it was after dark, so I don't know if that's something that you guys come in or do a sweep at dark, just running anybody out. But the signs are up down there, the park closes at dusk now.
Generally what happens is, especially around that time around dark, this is usually our busiest hours where our guys are on calls, which is understandable.
Yeah.
If they come by there at a significant time after dark and people are in the park, we usually address that. My guys know that on patrol. With the smell of marijuana, the best way to put that is get used to it.
I know.
It's coming. And we all know what happened not too long ago with the situation where you guys were involved, so just make sure that you guys call us if you have any concerns, so.
That was the only time I noticed it. It hasn't occurred again since then.
Yeah, and most of the time, to be honest, just to address that as a police officer, in a law enforcement capacity, since that park has been opened, I know there's controversy with it, but since that park has been opened, we have seen a large number of the call volume for break-ins, juvenile problems reduce. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you flat out that if I see a kid playing basketball, I'd rather see them playing basketball than see them breaking into cars, throwing rocks into the campers and all these other things that goes on around here. When that happens over here, generally it's the Ludlow guys that come over here, kids come over here. Well, I said it. And mostly jest, but generally our numbers for juvenile problems have reduced since the park. So I appreciate the park as a police officer, and I also appreciate the park and the fact that I'm not having to chase kids around when I got more important things to be chasing around.
Right.
So
No, my point wasn't directed as to the police, it was to let Tim know, because sometimes they're not out at that time of the night, that it was occurring that one week, and
it
if
does.
some damages are there, then we'll know why or where.
Yeah, and you guys have cameras that are still that work and are operational, correct? I know we've used them a couple times in the past, and those are really nice for us, especially if something occurs. So, but yeah, that park has been a huge help for the number of
That's good to know.
kids. You know, they have something to focus all their energies on. And a lot of times when I'm out and about, especially even working my shift in the evenings, this time when I'd be out riding around, I get stopped by the kids all the time and I ask them where they're going. I'm going to the park to play. So that's much better than the past. So
Are soccer teams required to have permits to use the field?
I'm glad you brought that up. They're not, the teams are required, yes. But what we may need to do is put a sign, get a sign that says the permits take precedence over.
Just anybody showing up?
Yes. Because we've only had one incident, and they left the field, but they weren't happy about it.
I know with baseball practice, when I was down there, we had a permit issued from the city.
Right.
And if I presented that permit, they didn't have anything, they
Right.
left.
Which is how it was handled this time.
Yeah.
But it would be nice for the people who don't know that there are permits issued. If there's a signage down there, if you're, organized, we gotta figure out how to word it. Organized organizations or permits take precedence over, and I don't know that word, what word could you use?
Ordinary.
Recreational.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
League teams take over recreational.
Yeah, okay.
The reason I ask that is there's a group of, I guess, Dominican
Yes.
or whatever they are, and mostly from Ohio. If you check the plates, that's what prompted me to ask if we were issuing permits.
Yeah, and that may be the ones, I can ask the guy, that may be the ones that he took the permit down, but it may be the one that they ran across. He said they weren't combative or anything, they weren't happy, but they
Right.
weren't combative, so that's where a sign somewhere down there would make, at least they could point to the sign and say, we have a permit. And if they wanna come and get a permit for the days that are available, that's fine. Ohio or, I mean,
Right,
yeah. Not ideal, but.
it's being utilized.
Yes.
Is there any chance that we can get either the colors or some paint for that basketball court? And Jack and I will repair that spot where they burned it up.
We had asked, I can ask that company again, and we had asked, when we asked him for it before, he said he would come over and he said, you can only buy it in, I wanna say 10-gallon buckets. It was a huge amount. And he said, you'll never go through that amount. And he said he would come and look at it.
Well,
But-
can we get a color or, you know,
Let me ask him,
notch
because it's,
up a color and then we take it up to Home Depot and I know they have different type of acrylics, different type of acrylics up
let me
there.
ask him again, because it's the same company that's gonna do the pickleball, so I'll ask him. He actually should be calling sometime this week, so, yeah.
Was the cracked in, all the cracks in the basketball court, was that presented to the company that did the work? Because there's a lot of cracks and that's separating, that paint would be a good sealer for it, but there's a lot of cracks that are 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 wide already.
When we talked to him about the pickle court, no, I didn't address that, but we can when he comes in.
Yeah, make sure he gets a look at it, if you would, please.
Okay.
Is that it, Diane?
Yes.
Thank you, Tim. Andrew?
No claims and nothing on grants this evening.
Okay. That it?
Did you check into those insurance bills from last?
You said that it was, there was a $3,000 difference, right?
Actually, last year I think was like 14 grand and we've only paid like 7 grand.
Or, you mean by this year to date? Okay.
Normally they all came in at the same time.
I didn't get to it, but I'll get with Terry, see if I can find it.
And we were not successful in getting the tree grant.
Oh, no.
Oh, she applied?
I'll go ahead and evaluate the curves then.
Yeah, it'll become available again next year. So if,
What is it about in the fall? They go out or?
actually, no, I think it goes, yeah, and I think it might be opening up soon again because it was like January or February when I met with the Sandra, I think.
Well, don't stop doing it.
Well, if I get reelected, if I don't get reelected.
Was that through the Arbor Day Foundation? Gail,
I'm sorry?
was that through the Arbor Day
No,
Foundation?
actually, it was through the state of Kentucky. It's a,
Urban grant? Yeah,
forestry
urban
grant, forestry grant.
Forestry grant, yeah.
Or urban forestry grant.
Yeah,
That's what it was,
yeah.
Okay.
Cassandra's very knowledgeable and very helpful. She, if we get awarded the grant, she will take care of all of the paperwork and stuff for it.
I've got nothing to bring up at this time. So we need a acceptance for all the committee reports. It's my
Make a motion that committee reports be accepted.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, Bob?
I don't think you gave Diane on city building a chance to. I have a question for you. Pat, this is from Pat, who's brought over about a half a dozen different, furniture polishes and stuff for these
These
tables.
tables?
And she can't find anything that works on there to get rid of like fingerprints.
Fingerprints and stuff?
Last one, committee reports.
Can you contact the manufacturer or the distributor and see what they recommend?
Yeah, I will. I'll call Patrick.
Sorry, Mike, I didn't know that you had already.
Old business, anybody got any old business they will bring up? New business?
Well, I got actually old business. The library box and the pantry are done, and if you guys would like to see them.
Sure.
Ken Stidell down
Sheets match
on
walls by
Pike
the way.
Street, I know, isn't that funny? Made these, he took them right out of my head.
Wow.
and made them a reality. So these are pretty cool. And this has a hinge door, so this will close on its own. I don't know that we got a spring in here or not, but this will really help sharpen up that corner down there at Pleasant and what is that? Pleasant and
Shelby.
Shelby. Yeah. So actually, I need to get with Bob. These mount to the bottom of the units, and then they're hollow, so they slide over a 4x4. So if we want to lay down a small pad, or if you just want to run a post in the ground, then we can slide them right over there. They're pretty heavy. I don't think anybody's going to pick them up and walk away with them. So. But this has been almost a year in the works, and I'm glad to have it. Done.
I might take one back.
Good job.
It was nice to be able to work with a local business in Bromley and support a local business to get that to come to fruition. So, you know, we talked tonight about someone in the community needing food and knocking on doors. Well, there you go.
When do you anticipate installation?
I don't know, Bob, you wanna, can I get with you early next week? Okay, I would say within a few weeks, Gail, because we just gotta put a post in the ground and drop them. That's it.
Can anybody just drop by and put stuff in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody can donate food or books. I've got an email out to Kenton County Library to see if they'll give us donations of books to get us started, but yeah. Anyone?
If you have any issues with them not getting back to you, get my email from her. I used to work at the library as security there, and I know Paul, everybody there, and I can go by and help you out with that. At least give you a good contact with the head guy there, so.
Could they put anything on the website about people in town going down and stocking it if they have books?
When they're installed, yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get something out on Facebook, yeah.
Everybody's got something, you know.
Yeah.
Also tag the city of, tag the police department, Park Hills Police Department on this, because I run the page now for Park Hills Police Department, and I'll post that as well, and just add a little extra right there, so.
Always good to have a Facebook friend for the city, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're not following me, you gotta follow me, you know what I mean?
Hey, Andrew,
Yeah.
will there be any guidelines for like sub-zero temperatures and stuff? I mean, if you put canned goods or something in there, it'll freeze and explode, you know?
Well, I mean,
You might want to put a,
the hope is people use some common sense with it. I know, but the Lexan on the door, it's actually supposed to be sort of a multi-seasonal thing. The Lexan on the door will let enough light in to allow for some heat, but then we painted them white so that they don't bake in the summer. So it's almost like a greenhouse effect. But yeah, I mean, once we get down in the teens and single digits, whatever is in there is going to explode.
Crackers.
Box goods.
Yeah, box
Yeah,
goods.
cereal, you know what I mean, stuff like that. You can't
Yeah.
in the wintertime.
But I mean, we could put some sort of instruction in there. I don't know if anybody will bother to read it, but
just an idea.
yeah.
Okay, anybody got any new business they want to bring up?
I'm trying to get shirts from Hager, so that's coming too for Bromley.
Okay.
Still trying to match the logo, I'm trying to match the logo on the signs. So if
Okay.
anybody knows what that logo is,
I've got it.
you've got it. Where were you when I was asking for the logo?
This is the first I heard that anybody was asking for this, no, you guys asked, you said about getting shirts, but nothing was mentioned about the
Would you
logos.
send me the logo, please? Please, I said please.
I've got it somewhere.
Oh, awesome.
Okay,
I cannot believe.
communications,
Yes, I have something happy and positive to add. So I know the mayor had brought up the Riverfront Commons project as to it being accepted and approved. However, just to solidify that a little bit more, the interlocal agreement, that of which we all signed and put our 16,000 something into at the end of last year, beginning of this year. The interlocal agreement was approved by the Attorney General of Kentucky as well as filed by the Secretary of State. So I just brought the 2 formal letters, just so you guys can take a gander and kind of see that this is like a huge step in the right direction for an awesome project here in our tiny town. So I'll send it that way, and then you can send it back this way. So.
Is there any like estimated timeline?
This is definitely a lengthy
Oh, no, I don't
process.
mind.
If you guys
They-
would like,
they
I do
have
have
cons-
the email.
They have constructed the path, but it's just not all the way down.
Yeah,
I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime.
This has been going on, Dave and I met with them in 2012.
Yeah.
The whole email though, they do add more detail as far as like the layout and the anticipated engineering and whatnot, if you want more detail.
For our area.
Yeah, just sort of a broad scope of what's anticipated. So it's kind of neat to see it makes more sense from on paper. I have it, he sent me the whole email with everyone that had signed, but that was just sort of for everyone to see. But if you want all of those details, I can forward that to you. Yeah, so just something to kind of look forward to.
Okay, we're gonna make a motion the bills be paid.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
And need a roll
All
call.
in favor?
I need,
Oh, roll call. Mike? The
Yes.
bills.
Yes.
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 I'll vote yes on all the monthly recurring bills with the exception of the credit card statement.
Credit card statement. Motion for adjournment.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I look-